Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have with us Deborah Coviello. She is a speaker, author, and consultant, and she teaches C-suite leaders how to establish a what she calls lift, light, lead environment and create calm amidst chaos or crisis. Welcome to the show, Deborah.
AJ, thank you so much for the opportunity. I can't wait to talk to you and your audience and share the best insights that I have.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show, Deborah. Welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll talk about how leaders can lead with clarity, confidence, and peace of mind. We'll talk about all this. But before that, let's learn a bit about your journey, your background, so that audience knows who they are listening to.
Yes, thank you. Again, most importantly, on the personal side, I'm married. I have 3 adult children. I live in the US in Cincinnati, and I've enjoyed a wonderful career starting out as an engineering professional and finding my way into manufacturing because I love the creative process. I've been in electronics manufacturing, chemical, specifically flavor, food, and fragrance, but always in the area of quality and operational excellence. So let's make things better, faster, cheaper, more efficient. But I will say later in my career, as I moved up into higher roles of leadership, I realized I was no longer the subject matter expert. And my role as a leader was to act differently and start elevating the capability of the people on my team so we could get a better impact. And so, fast forward, I had the opportunity to leave my corporate role and start my own business, but I still focus on manufacturing, helping small and medium sized companies through some kind of transformation, a business issue in quality and operations. But always, every time we do that, there is an element of leadership development, whether it's the C suite leader or people on their team, so that they can leave a lasting impact far beyond the time that I spend with them. So that's a little bit about me. Happy to answer more.
Absolutely, absolutely, Deborah. So I want to understand about leaders. Why do they need? What is their? Why do they need the drop-in CEO for themselves? Help us understand. Because they are leaders, they know about everything. They know about the past. Obviously, if they know about the present, and they also claim to several of them that they also know how to take their organizations into the future. So they must be also knowing about the future. So why do they need Deborah Coviello?
So here's the thing. Here's the paradigm. Yes, they think they know everything and they have risen to levels of leadership because of the playbook, the plan, the thing that works for them over and over again. But I have seen time and time again, something changes in the environment, in the conditions, in the team, in the customer requirements, where all of a sudden these amazing leaders find themselves losing their confidence because they are unable to make the changes, unable to lead. They are exceeding their capacity or capability. So I talk to them. Have the courage to ask for help. And the drop in CEO can come into the organization and partner with you because it's a sign of strength to ask for help. And obviously, I use my background in operations and quality, the lens of safety and human dynamics, and let me partner with you as the drop in CEO, not to take your role, but to enhance what you already do and leverage some of my insights so that you can actually see what is the problem or problems that need to be solved. And together, we solve the business issue to get you from a place of chaos to calm and also build the confidence of your people and yourself. That's a little bit different than being a fractional leader or consultant. I come in with care. I help solve your business issue with you and leave you in a better place for a lasting legacy.
Right. So, what are the some of the problems that these CEOs have? What is it that you bring and they don't have?
So, more specifically, and thank you for that question, I have dropped into organizations that are doing okay, but the customer requirement changes. They need a new certification, they need a quality certification, environmental health and safety. And if they don't do it, they don't stay on the core supplier list, and that impacts top line growth. I have experience in quality systems and food safety systems. I can help you get those systems in place and the certification so you can continue to do business and grow your business. That's one example. A leader might need me if all of a sudden they had to fire their quality or operations leader, or they left and they can't find a replacement. I can instantaneously come in and partner with you and provide instantaneous leadership to support you through what is happening. However, in crisis, loss of customers, a recall, the team, you're losing people on your team. I can come in at a time of crisis and immediately take that off your shoulders because I've been in manufacturing and operations and know how to stabilize things. And I work with you. I'm just an extension of you, not a threat. And once we get things stable, the recall is done, the customers are happy, you've instilled confidence in your people and you're developing your people, then we can talk about what else we need to stabilize and maybe grow your organization. So I come at a time of chaos and firefighting for which you're going to burn out if you don't bring in the drop-in CEO. Or if in crisis, I can help you move out of that and get you back into a control situation. So those are just a few examples of how I drop in.
Right. So why do they firstly are not able to do it themselves? Why do they fall into such situation? In your words, why do they fall off the track that you need to bring them on track?
So there's two things, and I talk about the courage for asking for help. And some people ask me, why don't they ask for help? And I think it's a sense of pride. They've been celebrated and they get validation because they've been able to solve the problem. And they're concerned that if they cannot solve the problem now, it's outside their capability of themselves and their team, they're going to be seen as weak. And we need to first work on a leader's mindset in order to be able to move forward. So when I talk about my book, The CEO's Compass, the compass is your guide to get back on track. It actually starts with how do you achieve peace of mind? Because in the past, you've been just chasing results, and results are not sustainable. You, as a leader, have to lead differently because the ultimate outcome is peace of mind, which is a state of being, not results. And the compass, can you improve the purpose of your company, what you're doing, the performance of your people? Have you really celebrated the past or the pride of your people that came into your team, or did you go right to solving results? And by the way, have you as a leader ever spent the time developing the skills that maybe your people have risen to managers, but nobody helped them in how to be a leader? Those are the things that I find are always off track, not about having the latest computer system or tools or equipment. That's superficial. You as a leader have to focus on the human potential and elevate that. You hire great people, they have your back. If you remove those barriers and provide enablers and build their confidence, that's going to get you to peace of mind.
Absolutely. But you see, Deborah, you are asking the leaders to suddenly change everything around them, change everything about them. So many years of chasing just profits, bottom line. How will you suddenly change everything about them? You can change about one thing, that okay, I'm losing my customers. You come in, you help them show the perspective. But if you want to change their mindset, even if they say it, the world will not believe it. Do you actually think they come with a very open heart that yes, I really want to change my heart, and I need help in that? Help us understand. Or is it just like posturing for many of these people?
So I appreciate that question because change is hard. But what I would propose is a different word, which is a little different, is you need to evolve because you're already a great leader. You already care about your people, but there are some things that you need to do to evolve. And now I will say you have to pause and reflect and look at your situation and see where you're struggling. And maybe you need to lead differently. A quick story. When I came to be the head of quality for North America, I had a region that was in last place. And I realized that working harder and working longer was no longer serving me. And so I went to a global meeting and I had to deliver a presentation about what was I going to do to fix our performance. And I said, I cannot do the same thing because I'm not going to get a different outcome. And so I asked myself as a leader, and this is a tip for your audience, who am I as a leader? What is my strength? What do I need to do to be in service to my people? And what is my purpose? And I realized my purpose was to help my people struggle less and spend more time with family, community, and friends. And with that mindset shift that was my guiding light, I realized I had to lead differently. And I delivered this presentation explaining how I was going to lead differently and support my people. A slight mindset shift. My management did not like it. They did not like the presentation because I did not spend enough time focusing on the technical details to get the results. And later I felt really sad. I thought I blew it. But then I sat with colleagues, and my colleagues said to me, "We love what you said about a different mindset and leading differently and being in service to your people." I said, "Because if we continue to get the same leaders only focus on results, we're only going to get those results. But you provide a different type of leadership." And with that, I realized, because I took a risk on myself and I sought clarity, that was the slight shift that I needed. And I suggest every leader take a moment and figure out, what is your purpose? And shift that mindset and use that as your guiding light. That's how you can change or evolve.
Absolutely. Now you also talk about, leaders' peace of mind. Why only leaders' peace of mind? Leaders' first job is to talk about employees' peace of mind. Why their own peace of mind is coming here first? How would you like to tell them?
So this is a great example because it's almost like when they talk on an airplane and they give the safety information. They say, put a mask on yourself first before the mask of others. You can try to support and elevate and help your people get peace of mind, but if you have never realized it yourself, how can you paint a picture of what peace of mind looks like and help your people to achieve that? I know what peace of mind looks like when my children go out into the workplace and they can earn their own money and they are happy. That is peace of mind for me as a parent. And I think anybody out there that has a relative, when you see your children or family members thrive, you have peace of mind, you have done your job. In the workplace, if you have an employee that talks to a customer and explains why their job is so important to a customer and the reasons that what they do and why they do it so that we protect our customers, when you see our employees have that level of purpose and can articulate it, then you know you have peace of mind. So I would ask anybody out there, you need to find a place where you have experienced that emotional connection, goosebumps, the flutter, or the calm. And when you can see that, that is what you're striving for in terms of your workplace, your career. So I suggest leaders need to find that feeling and remember that. And that's how then you can lead your people to a place that has more purpose and achieve peace of mind, not results.
Absolutely. Tell us about your philosophy. Lift, light, lead.
Oh,
Explain it for people who can understand it and follow themselves.
so lift, light, lead were three words that when I started my business and I was going through self reflection, I wrote on a napkin because I was thinking, what are those things that define me? And for many years, I put it away. But when somebody was helping me to develop my voice as a leader, I remembered lift, light, and lead. And what lift, light, lead is, anytime I go into a new organization or meet a team of people, I see people so deeply that I just say, do you realize you are so good at this? And I lift them because sometimes you can't see your own gifts. And then what I do is I shine a light on their gifts and realize, with your ability to speak and articulate, you should be doing more teaching or training. Because when we focus on people's strengths, when we try to lift them up by shining a light on those gifts, they can lead with more confidence versus focusing on areas that they're not as good at. So every time I go into a situation or team, I look deeply into that person and say, how can I lift them and be in service by shining a light? And maybe for that moment in time, they will lead or proceed with their life differently. That's what I'm about.
Right, right. Before I come to your book, let me understand this. In present situation, when we have got this great resignation, quiet quitting, and all toxic workplaces and all, how do you look at these leaders? Are they uh, the problem themselves, or are they the solution? Can organizations also do without them? And just to exist or show that they are important people, they create so many problems so that they continue to be look like to be important or not. So that's why I'm asking, Are for such leaders problems or solutions? Can organizations do without them, or they are necessary for the organization?
And when you say that, meaning the people that quit, yeah, I so
No,
here's the
the
thing.
such
No.
leaders who create toxic workplaces but are considered to be, important for the organization.
Yeah, so a couple things with quiet quitting. I would just say that, we may have had a global event that caused people to want to leave, but I would say that that was only the tip of the iceberg, that those problems that were there, toxic workplaces, not developing your people, have always been there. And so that was a warning shot to say, okay, yes, people have left and started their own businesses or gone elsewhere, but people, the leaders, need to take this as a sign, because obviously they could be the next one on the chopping block. Leaders have to look inside and say, what do I need to change as a leader in terms of supporting my people, listening to my people, show empathy to my people, and see people as a profit center, not as an expense. And when we do our annual strategic planning, don't just think about how am I going to increase market share? What new capital do I need? But have a line item in their strategy about, and what do I need to do to mitigate risk associated with the loss of intellectual property? That is a core competency. We think patents and new equipment and shiny pennies are what we're after, when really we need to shift our mindset. Our people are our most important commodity, asset, intellectual property, and we need to identify the risks. And if it happens to be leaders that are not focused on elevating their people or removing barriers, they become part of the risk management plan, and they become the people that are in that bottom 10%. So I want leadership to think about people as a strategic initiative and look at how, when we mitigate the next quiet quitting era, and it may be having to change the leadership at the top.
Absolutely,
Thank
absolutely,
you.
Deborah. Now let's learn from your books. You are the author of CEO's Compass, your guide to get back on track, and the new CEO playbook, Stop Chasing Results and Start Pursuing Peace of Mind. Who are these books for? Is it for the new leaders, or is it for the present ones who are having these problems?
So this has been a struggle with my publisher, because the publisher says you should always write a book for one audience. And my audience, I'm saying to myself, yes, it's the CEOs and the C-suite leaders that are having a problem that they don't understand how to solve. But in my heart, I said, but these are for the aspiring leaders that also need to learn from my lessons as they try to move up into higher positions of influence. So I will say the CEO's compass is for that leader who is stuck and needs to get back on track, but also for a leader that may not have a support system. The CEO's compass has amazing stories that you can relate to and actionable tips that you can start doing now to evolve your leadership. So when the opportunity presents itself, you may be that next C suite leader. So the CEO's compass, C suite leaders, and those that want to have greater impact.
Absolutely. So, in a nutshell, what can they take away from this book by reading this?
Well, for me, just know you're not broken. When we get to those places of low confidence, they say, woe is me and I'm a failure. No, 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 you're not a failure. But when we think about a compass and being off track, you might have to, true north, peace of mind is where we're going. You might be off a little bit to the west or a little bit to the east. And I often find that if you look at the compass of purpose and performance, past, pride, people, process, and platforms, you may only need to look at my insights and correct one or two, and eventually you get back to peace of mind. So just know it's not a cookie cutter approach. You need to follow my 7-step process. No, you choose the adventure and see, where am I off track, and pick and choose what you can to get you closer to peace of mind. Those are the insights that you can take lots of actionable tips in every chapter.
Absolutely. There's much to learn from your book. There's much to learn from you. And I'm sure a lot of people would want to connect with you. What is the best way for them to do so?
The easiest way to connect with me, and I do want to connect with you, is go to my website, dropinceo.com, dropinceo.com. Look at my work, but I have a contact page, and you can connect with me, get some free gifts, or let's just have a conversation. I'd be so pleased to meet you and share some more insights with you.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you, AJ.